Hello and welcome to Moore's Park. Today I want to show you some cool gifts that my wife Deb picked up for me today. She was at a Walmart. She had a vacation day today from work, and she was at a Walmart up in Lebanon and visiting up there and found these. Now this one's really unusual. I had to look this one up because it does not resemble anything I've seen. This is a real bizarre cultivar here, monstrous plant. Now I looked this up, and it's called Echinopsis cultivar chocolate. It's a real cool plant. Now it's grafted on dragon fruit, which most of your commercial grafts these days are. I'm not really crazy about dragon fruit, but I'm going to keep this as long as I can, and hopefully it'll work out. It's a pretty thick piece, so maybe it'll be a little more hardy. But I'll try to propagate this also. I'm probably going to end up grafting some of this a little later on to keep it going on a even better stock. But this is really cool. Deb sent me pictures of these while I was actually coming in from work, and showed that Walmart had just got in some new plants. This Copper King also is really nice. Mammillaria elongata Copper King. And I don't know if any of you noticed this summer, but it seems that there's been kind of a shortage of really good cactus plants at the big box stores. I don't know if it's some kind of shortage or what. Some of my best buys have been more online and from like the Amish stores up north of us here. But I've kind of noticed a shortage of even the real big, like, wow plants, you know, something that you just like, oh my God, I can't believe they have this for such a cheap price. Last year was a big year for that. I got quite a few really nice big ones that were unusual to find. And this year I just noticed there's kind of a shortage of things. Anybody else notice this out there? Well, let me know in the comments. She also found this really cool stoneware pot. And I'm going to pot this Copper King up in it. Now for the other one, I bought a big cup not long back at a flea market. And it's kind of a really strange looking cup. Funny for the cactuses too. So since they're both kind of strange, I'm going to put this guy in this guy. And this is a stoneware cup. I found it at a flea market. And of course, I had to alter it. I had to drill the hole to make sure that it was going to drain. And many of you know that's how I make a lot of my pots. I find different containers and make pots out of them. A lot of times really cool cereal bowls or coffee mugs. Coffee mugs are a big thing. As you can see, this is a big, huge mug, basically. And I was told it was actually made in the 70s sometime. So it's an older one. But pretty cool. And I'm going to pot these two up here. And we'll see what they look like. Okay. First I'm going to pot this one up in this pot here. I always use a piece of screen in the bottom of these, just so the soil doesn't fall out the bottom. I don't usually use like broken pot shards or anything like that. I like to use a screen. It's a lot cleaner and everything. So I'm going to go over the screen. And I'll put a little soil on the bottom here to get this started. Okay, I had to kind of stop there for a second and get my pan. I like to kind of keep that old soil contained and not all over the place. Now, on some of these, they have a little bit of spines. As you can see on there, on this variety of elongata, it has a few sharp spines that come out. But me, I've got really tough hands. If you guys if you want to transplant these. You can use an old rag or a t-shirt or a towel or something like that to actually get these off into. I just tend to use my hands. I might get a couple spines, but they pull out easy. My hands are all tough. So I'm a hands-on kind of guy, and so I just got to do it with my hands. Now this one here is in a plastic pot inside these containers. And these containers actually don't even have a hole in them. So for future use, I'll have to take and drill a hole in the bottom, just like I did this other pot here. I'm gonna have to loosen this up a little bit. There we go. It's actually got a pretty good root system on it. You can see. Looks like they just watered it. It's kind of wet, which that's not real great. But I'm going to peel some of this soil away and get it into a lot better soil, because this is some peat soil, and that's usually what they use for commercial mixes is peat. So I'm going to break this up and get some of this off that I can, and then go from there. Maybe a little hard with the soil being wet. It's kind of better when it's dry. You kind of crumble off there, but it's a bit wet. Maybe it'd be better for it to get it out of this anyway. Kind of like to use this little bamboo stick a little bit, kind of loosen it up. It won't hurt it too bad here. As wet as this is, kind of tearing at the roots a little bit. So I may just kind of have to not tear all of it off of there. And maybe just put it into this better soil and let the roots seek it out. Because it is rather wet. You can see it's, you can almost squeeze the water out of it. It's so wet. But you know, at these stores and stuff, they don't know. They just water these things down, and being that those containers don't have any good drain holes, but that's kind of what happens. This is a good one, good plant. I mean, you see the trunk of it there. Looks real nice. Nice, healthy. Put that off there. I'm kind of holding over the ground now. Okay, I think I'm just going to kind of stop there and put it into this drier soil. More in here. As I say, if you feel uncomfortable using your hands to transplant these spiny ones, you can use, like I said, an old towel, or sometimes an old t-shirt will work. Roll up an old t-shirt, kind of cover your hand with it. Paper can work too, but paper's a little slick. Sometimes doesn't grab onto them to help pull them out. I kind of like to use something cloth, because the spines will kind of grab onto it a little bit and help pull it out. Tamp that down a little bit. I'd say some of this dry soil I'm using too will help draw off some of the moisture from those roots, hopefully. And I won't water this for a couple weeks. It's going to need to kind of go through a dry period. Make sure that soil gets all down in there. Try not to tear up the roots more than I have to. Get that soil tamped down there. These elongatas have always been a favorite. I remember these were one of my first cactus when I was very, very young. I'm say about 5 or 6 years old, I got some of my first little tiny cacti, and the elongatas are one of them. It wasn't the Copper King, it was actually the golden version, what they call the Gold Star, which actually doesn't have any central spines. It's kind of unusual how much these elongatas vary. Tamp that down real nice there. I'll blow off that soil off the edge. It's very hot out here today. Before I came out here, it was like 99 degrees, believe it or not. And yeah, these little guys can get you some spines. I don't know if you can see that, but I got a little spine right there. Pull that out. One right there. Not too serious, though. Okay, time for a little top dressing on this one. And I'll put a name tag in them a little later. I'd say this will do good when it gets some sunshine. I think it's been under the shelf or just in shipping for a little while, because I can see it just starting to say, hey, I need more light. You can just tell by the ends of the stems. I'm using some crushed lava rock to put around it. That's one of my favorite top dressings, actually. I just love the contrast of it and the plant. Sometimes it helps to lean that pot in like that so that you can see where the lava rock's going. And get it up around the exposed places around the root ball, the base of the plant. More. I want to try to cover most of that soil. Keep that perlite and stuff from floating up and soil from floating up. That perlite's kind of a pain in the way it floats up, but we just don't have a lot of pumice or anything available to us. It's so expensive to mail order it, so you have to kind of use what you got, I guess. And so that's what we end up getting. As long as my plants will grow good in it, I'm kind of fine with it, but it does kind of make a mess. I'd rather use pumice if I could. And if you have the opportunity to use pumice instead of perlite, then please do, because it's better. It doesn't float. It puts good drainage in the soil, and it's just better all the way around. But perlite's what we've got. And there's one. There's the Copper King. I wiped some sweat off my face because it's rather hot. Today, thank goodness, it's not real humid, because sometimes the humidity out here gets really bad with the heat. I can stand the dry heat, but that humidity's different. Okay, set that in there. Now on this one, I may not try to disturb that root too much. Hylocereus do pretty good with peat soils. So I don't really see any reason to really bust up the roots too much. I'll just loosen it up so it can get a grip. And it has good roots. You can see it's got really good roots. I say I'm not really a fan of dragon fruit stalks, but this particular one, as you can see, it's very thick. See kind of a cross section there. It's very thick, and so usually the thicker ones like this will last a whole lot longer. And I say I'll try to propagate this little guy when it starts growing a little bit. I get another stalk. I can go ahead and propagate a piece of it and get it going again, and on an even better stalk. Now I've got a little something here, and I'm not sure what this is, whether it's another root coming up or what. I think it is. See that? Almost looks like a seedling growing in there, but actually I think it's the root growing from here. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of loosen this. I'm not going to take all that peat soil away from it, because it is a hylocereus and it can stand that. But I'll loosen some of it up, and then I'll put it in my soil, and it should be fine. Okay. I don't think I'm going to do too much more than that. I'm starting to break some roots, and I'd rather not break any of the roots. I think the hylocereus, as I say, will be fine in some of the peat soil. So, we'll go ahead and add me some soil here. I might set this a little deep, kind of cover up the graft so much and pay more attention to the top. See there. Actually, I think that's about perfect, actually. Be truthful. Find a good side here. It looks pretty good. Very unusual plant, I'll have to say. It was funny because Deb was sending me pictures of these and saying, what do you like? On what shelf? And I was kind of pointing them out. And this purple top really caught my eye as something unusual. And I really like the unusual. So she picked this up for me. Thanks, babe. I really appreciate it. Add some new cool stuff to the collection. She is the bestest girl in the whole wide world, my wife. I'm glad she noticed these. I'm glad she picks them up for me. Very cool. She is awesome. Okay, I think I'm going to have to use that bamboo a little bit to tamp that down. I don't want to bury it too deep, of course. I said I'm going to leave this just a little shorter, so more of the attention's on the top than on the stalk. I want to see the cyme, not the stalk. I think it was going to look pretty cool, actually. I'm using more for natural pots, but I saw this one and kind of got a laugh out of it, so I just had to kind of get it. And I knew I was going to have to get something that was a little unusual to fit it. Not just anything. Now this is not just anything. This is very unusual. I have not seen this before. This Echinopsis cultivar chocolate. Pretty cool plant. There you go. I think we got pretty good here. I don't have to worry so much about the spines on this one. It's got really short spines on the Hylos area, or dragon fruit as it were. But the top one really is kind of spineless. And the spines it does have are so fine. They're just like little hair. Okay, I think it's ready for some top dressing. Let me blow this off. Kind of gets a little bit of soil in there. I think that's probably the drawback of this pot. I think there's some right here in his mustache too. Let me brush his mustache off. There we go. Put some of this water off in there. In there. Lava rock kind of blends in with that stoneware too. That's pretty cool. And it goes good in contrast with the Echinopsis cultivar here. This new cultivar chocolate. Very cool. Some of our stuff away. two really cool plantings, two very cool plants. Thanks, Deb. Appreciate it. And these will be really cool in the collection, as I say. Very awesome. I was glad to share these two new plants. I say this is something I haven't seen before. You might keep your eye out for it. Very unusual. Echinopsis chocolate. But anyway, I'm glad you guys could join me on this very hot evening in the Ozarks. This is Clyde Morris from Morris Park. I hope you all have a great weekend. Take care.